Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you everything you should be familiar with before becoming an aesthetic nurse. Now, of course, if you get hired as an aesthetic nurse and you don't know any of these things, it is okay. You will learn on the job like I did. But if I had known a little bit more about each of these topics, I think it would have given me a leg up and I would have acclimated to the aesthetic nurse environment a little bit faster. I'm not necessarily going to be teaching you about each of these things in this video because this video would be 2 hours long then, but I am going to tell you the key words or the names of the services or treatments so that you can look it up, watch YouTube videos, and become familiar with it. When you're working in a medical spa, patients might come in asking about treatments or requesting recommendations for what you think they need. If you're not familiar with what's out there, even things that aren't available at your med spa, it's potentially going to make you look like you don't know what you're talking about. Unfortunately, I remember a patient asking me about Fraxel laser and I had no idea what it was, and she gave me the weirdest look and was like, "You work in aesthetics and you don't know what a Fraxel laser is?" Looking back, Fraxel isn't even all that common, but it made me realize that these people are expecting you to be a guru and to at least be familiar with what is out there. I'm going to teach you all of the things that you should do a little bit of research on before becoming an aesthetic nurse. The first thing on my list is a pretty common treatment for aesthetic nurses to perform, and that is laser hair removal. The SparkNotes version is that laser hair removal uses a pigment-seeking laser to heat up the hair bulb to burn the hair follicle, the hair shaft, to the point where it can never grow hair again. Hair grows in different cycles. You have certain hairs that are growing at certain times, so you want to catch the hairs when they're in a growth phase for this to work, which is why patients need to come in every 4 to 6 weeks to get the hairs that we missed the time before. It can take 7 to 10 sessions. It lasts until the next big hormone surge, so pregnancy or menopause, and it can be permanent. Some people come in and they've had laser hair removal 10 years ago and they have no hair whatsoever. Some people need continual touch-ups. It just depends on your body chemistry and your hair makeup. There are different types of laser hair removal. I'm not going to get into all of them. I find that the most common is the diode laser, but watch a few videos on how it works. You can do laser hair removal on any skin tone whatsoever, from super fair to super dark complected. The only people that cannot get laser hair removal are people who have blonde hair, gray hair, or red hair. You can always try it. Maybe their hair is a little bit darker at the root, but on myself, laser hair removal doesn't really work because my hair is blonde. People who have really dark complexions usually have even darker hair, so it still works for them. You just have to change the settings. I can't tell you how many people come to me and they say, "I didn't think I was a candidate for laser hair removal because I have darker skin." That's absolutely not true. The technology exists. Watch a few YouTube videos. Some big laser brands are Candela lasers, and the Dialaze laser is one that I've seen a lot. Just kind of play around on YouTube and see what you can find. Okay, another really common thing in the medical aesthetics world is PRP, or platelet-rich plasma. The way we get PRP is by bringing a patient in. We do a blood draw on them, so just a tourniquet on the arm and a straight stick, not like an IV or anything. We draw a few tubes of blood and we spin it in a centrifuge, which is what you see in like labs where they put the blood tubes in. It spins really fast and it separates the red blood cells and the plasma, which is like the dark red and the yellow. That plasma has collagen, growth factor. It has so much good stuff in it. So we draw that up in a syringe, and you can use that PRP for many different things. Some people like to put it on their skin before microneedling, which we'll talk more about what that is later, and it helps resurface their skin. It helps it heal faster. PRP is great for hair restoration because we inject it into the scalp and it has all of that growth factor in it. It can make the hair grow in thicker, which a lot of patients who are thinning love those results. I am a huge advocate for PRP hair restoration. I have had personal patients who have gone from being able to completely see their scalp everywhere to not being able to see their scalp at all within 6 treatments. You have to know what you're doing. PRP is an incredible treatment. You can also inject it into scars to break up that hard scar tissue. You can use it like filler to inject under the eyes, to inject lines right here, and it doesn't leave anything behind because it's your own plasma. Your body completely breaks it down, unlike filler, which sometimes can be left behind and can migrate. I would definitely watch a few YouTube videos on PRP. Moving over to the next treatment, you will be definitely hearing about microneedling. Microneedling is a controlled injury to the skin, which causes new collagen to be formed and causes the skin to resurface itself from the inside out. There are different types of microneedling. In my last job, we used a skin pen, which only goes 2.5 millimeters deep. You're resurfacing surfacing the surface of the skin. We would put PRP on, we would microneedle it in, and if you have acne scarring or discoloration on the surface, it's kind of like when you get a scar and new skin forms there. We're doing that all over. So instead of having little scars all over, your entire face resurfaces itself and you have this incredible glowy new fresh skin. It is the best. You come in for numbing, usually numb for 30 to 45 minutes before, and then we take the lidocaine off, cleanse the skin, and then we microneedle. It's really cool. You have a few days of downtime, not anything crazy like where you're peeling like a snake. Some people do have some peeling, but for the most part, it's very tolerable, especially if you have a nurse who knows how to numb you well. So that's the skin pen version of microneedling. There's also Morpheus 8. I'm sure there's other brands out there, but I'm just familiar with Morpheus 8. This is microneedling with a machine and it has radio frequency. So you're stamping the skin, you take the handpiece and you adjust how deep you want it to go. Our Morpheus goes, we have a body one, so it can go as deep as 5 millimeters, but usually on the face you go between 4 to 1 millimeter deep. And when the needles go in, if you have radio frequency on your machine, it ablates at the tip of the needle, which is a fancy word for burns. I won't get all into it, but that slight burning helps create new collagen. It helps the body to say, hey, we have an injury here, we need to resurface it, we need to put new skin out. So I've had it done on my stomach because I had a 10-pound baby, so my skin is super stretched out. I've done the skin pen on it twice and one Morpheus 8 treatment on it, and it looks significantly better. It actually does work. So on the face, if you have deep acne scarring, you take that Morpheus, you go deep to shallow. So we do a little bit higher energy, deeper, because you don't have as many nerves there. And then as we get more shallow, we can go to more areas like the forehead where there's not as much tissue. You can't do like 4 millimeters on the forehead. This causes the most dramatic results for patients. Out of any treatment I've done personally, I feel like microneedling gives you the most insane results, especially with PRP, because you get that quick healing and that new collagen a lot faster. Microneedling is something you will come in contact with in your career, so I definitely recommend watching some videos on it. These are in no particular order, by the way. So Hydrafacial, this might not be something that you're going to do because often estheticians are tasked with doing Hydrafacial. Sometimes nurses do them as well. It's a suction-based facial that essentially cleans your skin and your pores. It exfoliates, it cleanses, it extracts, and it hydrates. You do it over the skin, and then at the end they show you the canister and it shows everything that it sucked out of your skin. The results from this don't last forever. This isn't something that will benefit you for a really long time. Like microneedling, your results are forever. With Hydrafacial, this is something you do like before a big event to get your skin really glowing and looking really clear, but much like a facial or extractions, you have to get it done again and again. The results do not last forever. It's really common and really popular, so I feel like watching a video on it would kind of give you a leg up in case a customer ever mentions it to you. Moving right along, Neurotoxin is another word for Botox, something that you should learn early in your career. Be careful just calling all Botox Botox, like I did right there. Botox is a brand and it's just like Kleenex. If your office does not offer Botox brand, but they create any marketing or advertising that says the word Botox in it and you don't have an account with Botox, you can get in big trouble with them. There are different brands of neurotoxin or neuromodulators. Neurotoxin is a localized paralytic that helps relax muscles. So that's like the people who have the deep line between their eyebrows. They get a little either Botox, Jeuveau, Xeomin, Dysport between there, and it helps relax that muscle so that they don't get deep lines over years of doing that. It's very safe, it's very effective. Nothing is left behind in the skin. And as long as you're not allergic to it, there aren't really any side effects, which is really cool. Now, I say that, of course, my comments are probably gonna blow up with people who had side effects. Do your own research. I love neurotoxin. I think it just creates the most amazing look for the skin. People who have those deep lines in their forehead that they've had forever, you do a few rounds of Botox and they're gone. It's gonna work better than microneedling. It's gonna work better than anything, because genuinely, think if you had a leather coat and you're crinkling it every single day, or a leather bag, it's gonna get creases in it, and no matter what you do, those creases probably aren't gonna go away because you've damaged it. That's like your skin. If you start to notice you have these deep lines, if you don't like them, you need to start doing neurotoxin because they will become permanent. They will become very hard to remove. If they've been there a really long time and they're deep set, sometimes you can't even undo it with neurotoxin. So I recommend doing it early. The big brands that I know off the top of my head are Jeuveau, Botox, Dysport, and Xeomin. I think Jeuveau is my favorite right now, followed by Botox, Xeomin, and then Dysport. Do some research, watch some videos of common areas that people get neurotoxin, and it'll give you a little leg up. You can't learn everything about neurotoxin from a video. I've paid thousands of dollars to be certified in all of that after I already had a job job. I don't recommend paying for a class before. You need to learn the muscles of the face. You need to go to a class. Knowing that neurotoxin wears off in 3 to 6 months is great. You can't do it while you're pregnant or breastfeeding. After neurotoxin, you can't lay down for 4 to 5 hours because it can spread to other muscles and you can get weird results. You can't drink alcohol. You can't get hot, so no working out or sauna because it'll degrade the product. And you can't rub the face with any alcohol before or after because it degrades 40% of the product immediately. So using something like Bactine or Puricin to clean the face is really important. Okay, next up is dermal fillers such as lip filler, under eye filler, cheek filler. Again, this is something you're gonna have to take a class in. This isn't something you can just learn from the internet, but looking up common areas that people get filler is great. Knowing that filler takes a week or two to settle is really good. The first day or two after, you're gonna be really, really swollen. Knowing that that is all within the realm of normal is great. Knowing some of the bigger filler brands is huge, so that when people come in and they start talking about wanting Juvederm or RHA or Restylane, you're not like, is that a neurotoxin? Is that filler? Is that some laser? Just kind of be familiar with what some of the more popular brands are and that it is filler. Now you can get crazy. There's different types of filler for different areas. I say wait for that until you're a little more into it and you're actually taking a class and learning all of that. But just being familiar with what filler can do is great. There's chin filler, cheek filler, jawline filler. You can really put filler just about anywhere. Filler has to be dissolved. Your body does break it down, but it never gets rid of it completely. And even when we dissolve it, it doesn't completely go away. It always leaves a little bit behind. I might get some people that argue with me about that in the comments, but it is true based on MRI research that is coming out. Knowing that, letting your patients know that, being very honest with them is huge. Do some research, watch some YouTube videos about it. Okay, next up is IPL, which is intense pulsed light. That removes sunspots or rosacea on the face, and the settings can be changed to remove broken capillaries or spider veins as well. This is a good option. Some offices do IPL. It's a really bright flash of light that removes these things. Other offices choose to get Q-switch lasers. I am torn on what I like more. I think that the Q-switch laser gives you a lot of options. I would watch some YouTube videos on IPL and what it can resolve, and then I would watch some videos on like the Lutronic spectra and Q-switch lasers to see what it can resolve as well. The Q-switch lasers can take off tattoos, which I think is super cool. If you've never seen that, watch a video of tattoo removal just to get yourself familiar with it. They can remove sunspots. They can lighten melasma, which is really awesome. It temporarily tightens the skin as well. Watching videos of tattoo removal, sunspot removal, melasma lightening will show you what melasma is. If you don't know what it is, I would recommend looking it up because it's a really common thing in medical aesthetics. Watching these treatments be done, again, gives you a little bit of that experience, especially if you haven't been able to shadow at a medical spa or have no experience in medical aesthetics. The more you can see, the more you can watch, the better. Next up is medical grade skincare. Up until recently, I had mixed feelings about medical grade skincare. I felt like it was just expensive skincare products. I had a skincare routine that I liked and I had good results from. My skin looked good. Recently, I was pushed to start using medical grade skincare just to give it a try, and I can't argue that my results are so much better. And that's because medical grade skincare has higher percentages of active ingredients, and that is why they don't usually sell directly to the public. You have to buy it from a medical spa or a dermatologist. Look up what some of the medical grade skincare brands are. Just be familiar with the names of them. You don't have to know everything about it because it's a lot to learn everything about medical grade skincare. Being familiar with what some of the bigger brands are can really help you. Okay, IVs and vitamin hydration. That is pretty common at medical spas. That's where you obtain IV access. You do a tourniquet on the arm, put an IV in. The IV stays in throughout the treatment. You get the bag of fluid. You usually inject vitamins into it and then it hangs and rehydrates the patient. Not everywhere does this, but a lot of medical spas do. So if you're not familiar with IVs, usually you can learn on the job. They are hard, but not impossible, especially on people who are coming into medical spas. Usually they're not like the super sick dialysis patient that you get in the hospital that you just cannot get access on. A really common IV vitamin hydration is the Myers cocktail. I would look that up just so you have like an idea, because that's a common one that people will ask for. Look and see what kind of vitamins are in it. You don't have to memorize this, but just so you have an idea. It's gonna make you seem a little bit more like you know what's going on when you're at work and people mention something like that. I think we've covered pretty much everything. I will throw out a few more buzzwords that you can Google and watch a few YouTube videos on to help you. These are a little more specific. I personally don't know a ton about these things other than what they are and what they do, you watching a YouTube video and at least being familiar with the product or treatment will be helpful for you, I promise. Number 1 is cool sculpting. Everyone has their own opinion on cool sculpting. Watch a video about it just so you are familiar with what it is. Another one is Kybella, which is an injectable fat dissolvent. I would watch a YouTube video of it being injected and look at some before and after results. With Kybella, it does sometimes take multiple vials and multiple treatments, so know that when you're seeing these before and after videos, this is usually a lot of vials of Kybella to receive these results, just so you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna run out and get Kybella right now. And then lastly, body sculpting machines such as Physique or M-Sculpt. Watch a video on someone getting an M-Sculpt treatment or a Physique treatment. It can help you out in case your office ever gets one or a patient ever asks about one, so you can say, oh, I know what that is. We have that, we don't have that. I know of a spa that does have that, etc, etc, etc. This has been great. We kind of blew right through it. I feel like if you watch a YouTube video on each of these things or even just do a little bit of research, you are going to know more than I did when I started, for sure. It took me time to learn what all of these were. If I would have known about all of these before I went into medical aesthetics, I definitely would have had a more seamless integration to it. Medical aesthetics is a specialty just like ICU, ER, labor and delivery. There are things you need to know. You can't just hit the ground running because there are so many things you have to learn first. So as much as you can familiarize yourself with the common treatments and procedures that you will be working with potentially every day, the better you're gonna do long term, I think personally. Of course, if you get offered a job, take it. You will learn these things, I promise, but it doesn't hurt to be a little extra prepared. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love this community so much, and thank you for 16,000. Very exciting. Let me know in the comments below if there's a different kind of video you guys want to see. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you next time. Bye guys.